So there's a new brand of weight loss drug that's currently getting a lot of traction. It's called Ozempic, which is just another brand of a previous weight loss drug known as semaglutide. South Park even did a episode on it, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a huge South Park fan, so I found it fucking hilarious, to be honest with you. But there's going to be a lot of people who are currently asking themselves, should I get that, or should I use it, or is that what I need? So the short answer to that question is most likely not. And there's also some people out there who's probably going to be asking, does it actually work? And the answer to that question is probably not what you expect me to say. It does, and it can work 100%. Much like any drug, it manipulates the body's biochemistry for a certain outcome. Now, semaglutide, I'm going to use the actual name of the chemical itself here, is a weight loss drug which is mainly for people who suffer with type 2 diabetes or who are extremely overweight. And I'm not going to get too in depth into how it works because this is not a science lesson. This is just me trying to help out the general population. It works by helping control a person's blood glucose levels, which is ultimately what people who suffer with type 2 diabetes actually need. And it also helps reduce your appetite. This is how it helps people lose weight, because it reduces your appetite, meaning that people are less likely to overeat. And therefore, if you're less likely to overeat, you're less likely to intake too many calories, meaning that you're more likely to be creating a calorie deficit. So even drugs cannot escape energy balance and the laws of thermodynamics. It still does need you to create a calorie deficit for it to actually work. If you do not create a calorie deficit whilst on it, then it won't work. But it's designed to help make creating a calorie deficit a little bit easier. Now, before everybody starts ringing up their nearest chemist and saying, oh yeah, can I get some semaglutide? Listen in, it's a drug, it's a form of pharmaceutical. And as always, with any kind of pharmaceutical, with any kind of drug, that is usually supposed to be your last option, your last line of defense when everything else previously hasn't worked. You will only get prescribed this medicine if you have type 2 diabetes or you are extremely overweight, meaning that you're at risk of type 2 diabetes, and have tried everything in the past, everything previously which hasn't worked. You've tried diets in the past which haven't worked, you've tried for years to keep your weight down but it hasn't worked. You have an innate issue which is making you put on more weight than ever before because your appetite is either too high or you're too overweight to actually do anything regarding going to the gym and exercise, and you get the idea. It's your last line of defense and it should only be your last option, much like any other drug. If you are suffering with type 2 diabetes, you're extremely overweight and have tried lots of different ways to help keep your weight down in the past, and I mean numerous ways, then yeah, sure, potentially maybe read up on it a little bit. However, if you're just an average person, Sally from Derby, who wants to lose a little bit of fat before a holiday in the summer and has probably tried Weight Watchers in the past but it didn't work and is now thinking, oh cool, let's try this semaglutide, that's an easy way to do it. Stop what you're doing, because you shouldn't be even thinking or considering that. You are not part of the targeted audience for semaglutide. People who need semaglutide have tried multiple ways in the past to try and improve their behaviours and their habits, ultimately meaning they conform to a weight loss diet, but it hasn't worked. You've tried one in the past. You haven't done anything to work on your behaviours and your habits. The diet that you tried in the past has an issue at its core rather than an issue with you, because there's a difference between the diet having a problem because it's either really restrictive, really sacrificial and really toxic, and you having a problem that needs to get solved. And usually, most of the time, it's the diet that's the problem. I coach numerous people that have tried multiple diets in the past, Slimming World, Weight Watchers, keto, intermittent fasting, whatever it is, and it hasn't worked for them. And as soon as we tried a flexible approach, calorie tracking, flexible dieting, working on the behaviors and the habits, and doing it sustainably over a long period of time, they will lose weight and transform their body. Semaglutide is for people that just really cannot change their behaviors and their habits no matter how much they try, whether they've got an innate issue or they are suffering from type 2 diabetes. What you need to understand is that Ozempic or semaglutide, the only target audience that this drug has been tested upon are people who do suffer with type 2 diabetes, meaning that the only side effects that have been accounted for are people with type 2 diabetes. Therefore, it's not been tested on the general population, and the side effects or the potential side effects are currently inconclusive because this drug isn't for the general population. So to answer your question, yes, it does work. Do you need it? Probably not, especially if you haven't tried doing it in the right way, especially if you haven't tried doing it in the natural way, especially if you haven't tried doing it in the sustainable way. I hope that's cleared up a few matters. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. Comment below if you've got any questions because I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. And if you want to catch any more free fitness or fat loss based content without any of the bullshit, as always, make sure that you're either following my Instagram at k.p_health or subscribe to this channel. Peace.